I hope this looks alright. Oh, dude, what the fuck? This is the first of a video series I'm planning to do on this channel to kind of just pad out some actual, you know, content and videos, because at this rate I've done like none. I think this year we're about three months in by the time I upload this, and I've uploaded, I believe, 3 videos, I think, and one is like a short film, so like it's like not even a like normal video. So yeah, sorry. You know, as I said, you know, I'm trying to make better quality videos, so I thought, you know, people seem to like it when I yap, and I enjoy yapping, so we're gonna pad out the better quality reviews with some videos like this. My idea for the name, just Yap Seshes, right? This is a Yap Sesh. This is number 1. The idea, I'm going to talk about stuff I've been into recently. So it might be over the past month. In this video's case, it will be within this year so far. So January, February, March, up to this point. I don't know if you can see, I was watching the new Edward Skeletrix. Might not even be on the camera. A new Edward Skeletrix video just dropped. So yeah, talking about a lot of different stuff, right? So I'll start with music. What music have I been listening to? It's a great question. Let me pull it up. This is really like, this is not high effort, okay? These videos are gonna be, you're just, imagine you're in the room with me right now and I'm just like yapping to you, okay? Alright, so I mean, this year so far, one of the main things, Edward Skeletrix had museum music, dropped on New Year's. I thought it was an interesting album. It is definitely what I describe as post-rage music, or I have a friend who's really into underground hip-hop. He produces music himself. He also thinks it's just completely, to him it's like a groundbreaking underground hip-hop album, and I've called it freeform rage or avant-garde rage, you know, if you just want to be a nerd about it, you feel me? But mainly there's a few artists I've been getting into over the past and listening through this year so far. One is Smoke Dope 2016. I really like his stuff. He's pretty, you can kind of guess from the name, it's cloud rap. It's cloud rap. He's just bringing back the cloud rap sound, like pretty early cloud rap, with his own sense of style. I think he has great flow. I think he sounds really catchy, and all his beats are not maybe the most crazy thing ever, but they're good. Like, it's just, everything's really high quality across the board. Might not be the most original thing ever, but it's a good time. So like, I'm not hating, you feel me? Besides that, I've been getting into MGMT, listening to their albums. As of right now, I've listened to the first one, Miracular, Spectacular, whatever it's called, and Congratulations. I thought they were cool. I mainly just had standout songs that I enjoyed from both. Let me pull up my Spotify so I remember. Other stuff I've been listening to, No Hands by Joey Valence and Bray. Really fun album, super fun album. I've never actually listened to the Beastie Boys, personally speaking. I know I need to change that, but I just thought the album was super fun. All of the beats go hard. Their flows and everything on it are really good too. They have such an infectious energy on the whole album. And one thing I really love about it is that it's a rap album, maybe the first one I've heard, where it just has, they're not taking themselves seriously, which isn't like something super new. So many of their lyrics are just, it's all references to shit I know and I grew up with. You feel me? Like, when you listen to a lot of classic hip-hop albums, or maybe more serious hip-hop albums, you know, it's shit that I just wasn't alive during that time. But this one, they're referencing Ben 10, they're referencing fucking Mario Kart, talking about gritty and just, it's a bunch of stupid shit, but it's all stupid shit I know. So it really hits home. I really love No Hands. What else? I listened to Fake Mink, Blood Didn't Save Here. I thought it was cool. It was alright. Apparently he's supposed to make a song with Echo though. Hopefully Echo will drop this year. Too Hollis. I've listened to a lot of Too Hollis. I like his album too a lot. I think Boy's good too. I Can't Lie, his new song, Style, I think it's called. That shit kind of sucked. So I hope the album is an ass. He is dropping one this year. He said it on his Instagram. The Fully Cooley soundtrack, I mean, I talked about that in like end of 2024, but I've been listening to that still a lot. It's really good. New Vampire Weekend that came out last year, Only God Was Above Us. They cooked on that shit, bro. I would listen to Only God Was Above, or no, my bad. I listened to Vampire Weekend when I was in high school a lot, and I thought they were cool. And then I became a music nerd. I was like, I'm different. I don't like Vampire Weekend. But you know, the Bell Curve, I came back, I'm like, you know, they're cool now. So I listened to Only God Was Above Us, and I really enjoy it. And I've been just kind of going back through their discography again. It's good, it's a fun time. I enjoy Vampire Weekend, but I really do think Only God Was Above Us, it stands up there. It's really good. What else? Man, fuck it, I don't know. Oh yeah, Smile. Porter Robinson. Got into that a lot this year. I listened to it last year. Not when it came out, but just during last year. And I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was horrible. It didn't blow me away. I thought Nurture was better. But I've been listening to it a lot over this year so far. And I might like it more than Nurture. Dare I say. It's just a really fun time. Everything's really catchy. The instrumentals are fun. I mean, that's all you can really say, right? I think the lyrics can come off a bit corny at some points, but I do feel like that's intentional. Now, I could easily see somebody saying he does it to the point where it's like, it wavers on ironic or not. You know, that might be the point, but it still doesn't like, you know, it doesn't take, if you're being corny ironically, you're still being corny. Does that make sense, right? Like, it doesn't take away from the fact that you are still doing what you are doing. So I get why some people might not like it, but I really like it. I mean, I like almost every single song in the shit. Like, favorite songs on Smile: Knock Yourself Out, great intro. Cheerleader's really good. Russian Roulette's good. Perfect Pinterest Garden took a bit to grow on me. I really like Year of the Cup, personally speaking. I think that shit really goes hard. Kitsune Maison Freestyle, maybe my least favorite song of the album. Easier to Love You, super good. I mean, the rest of it's honestly fine. The outro is kind of like okay, but I really like Smile. Yesterday, I listened to music for 18 musicians, I think it's called. Steve, whatever, you know, it's some old white dude who probably made it. That's just my guess. Correct me in the comments below. It was really nice. I was out walking, you know, on my nature grind set and shit, and I listened to it. It was super nice. I know it's considered minimalism, so I wasn't exactly sure what I was expecting going into it, but it is very minimalist. It's able to make such a unique atmosphere and introduce new ideas and flow throughout this atmosphere, return to previous spots, add new stuff, all while maintaining a similar sound. And it does very little, but a lot at the same time, which just sounds like super whatever, but yeah. It doesn't feel overwhelming, but at the same time, it never feels empty. Do you get what I'm saying? And I wasn't really sure what emotions I would get out of it, but I can really say the music is upbeat. It's not like, you know, exuberant and you're like, oh, just pure joy and bliss when you're listening to it, but it's like, it's just that subtle happiness. It's happiness you get through small things in your life. It really reminds me, like, I was thinking a lot of like what sort of like scenes would play with this sort of music while I was listening to it, and I feel like it'd be like moments from your child, like happy moments from somebody's childhood, but not like grand moments like, oh, I won this award, or I had this really big celebration, or you know, I did super good in school. Like those really small moments in your childhood where it's like, you know, my parents took me to the park. I celebrated one of my first few birthdays with just my parents or my parent and me. You know, just these really small moments in one's life, and how like light and happy it felt, but it didn't feel like, you know, too grand, I guess, in the big scheme of things. And that's what I feel like that Music for 18 Musicians was able to capture, that sound. Okay, that's the music. There's probably more that I'm forgetting, but who gives a shit? So now we're gonna move on to different stuff, right? Okay? Listen, guys, I'm trying to branch out, you know, I'm trying to get my knowledge up, get my, expand my taste. So in terms of books, one of my goals for this year was to read more, because like a lot of people my age, or I shouldn't say a lot of people, me personally, my brain has been turned to rot by Instagram, and I don't use TikTok, but by Instagram, and I don't read. So one of my goals this year was to read more, and I bought an e-reader, a Kindle. This is, I think a 7th generation Kindle, so it's really old. I think the release date it's at least 10 years old. I bought this from eBay for about $30 to $35, super cheap. It was, I think, a 4 gigabyte version, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you download ebooks, It's not, it's an ebook is like barely any space, so it is quite a bit. And it's pretty cool because what you're able to do is, even though it's a Kindle product, Kindle, Amazon, Jeff Bezos' bald-headed ass wants you to sign in with your Amazon account and then buy books. However, here's the hack, okay? Allegedly, I wouldn't know though, allegedly, you could set your Kindle into airplane mode and then never have to sign in. And then allegedly, not sure, you know, allegedly speaking, I heard through the grapevine, you could then plug your Kindle into a laptop or computer, and there's a website that's called like Anna's Archive or something, something to that effect, and had like a white and A as the website picture. I don't know though. And it has like any book you could ever want on there, and you can just download the file, and then you could download like this other application on your computer called Calibri, and then you could just put the book downloads you got from the archive website on that desktop app and turn the file type to Mobi and then just upload it to your Kindle or something. That's what I've heard. Anyways, I've read a few books this year. The first book I read was an actual book, like it was a physical book. I read Albert Camus' The Stranger, which was an interesting book. It was my first Albert Camus book, which I think a lot of people's it is, and also the first time I've tried to read something that's a bit more steeped in philosophy. I'm taking a philosophy class in my college, so it just got me a bit interested. Of course, Albert Camus is very much linked to absurdism and some parts of existentialism, but I thought The Stranger was good. I feel like I wish I had more time with it. I was in a situation where like I had to return the book, so I didn't have that much time to think with the book, but it was good. I think it's a good introduction to some of the ideas of absurdism. I tried to read, I have it here, I don't know if you can see that, let me see, can you can kind of see it, on the right there, The Myth of Sisyphus, which is another book by Albert Camus. He's like a French philosopher who, I guess he was like, it was like one of the places French took in like fucking one of the world wars or something. You can search it up, you can search it up. But yeah, pretty much, I tried to read The Myth of Sisyphus, and I was getting, I think I got like 30-40 pages in, I was like, I'm not on this power level yet. Because The Myth of Sisyphus is just straight up like, it's an essay, it's an argument, it's a philosophical argument, it's not like a story or anything. And I was getting some of it, but then I was also like, bro, this is not for me, I'm not ready yet for this sort of writing. Because I used to read a lot in like beginning of high school, but it was all fiction. Like I used to read some, but it was all fiction. Anyways, the few books I read this year so far, I'm trying to read more. I read White Nights by, dude, I always forget how to say his name. Dukovsky? Let me hold up. White Nights by Dostoevsky, right? I really liked it. I loved it, in fact. I thought it was really interesting. It's a novelette, whatever. It's a novel. It's really short. It's like 60 pages. Not a hard read at all, in my opinion. I think it's really, I thought it was really interesting. Just kind of the idea presented about like, just like connection in our lives and how looking at our lives like a narrative, like are we able to simply live based off of just a few moments in our life? Is only a few moments of these amazing instances in our lives, is this enough to carry us for an entire life? Is that possible? And just kind of highlights, I think, how important other people are in our lives. And I thought it was a fantastic thing. I'd recommend anybody read it. I mean, it's super famous. White Nights, Dostoevsky. Super short, go read it. Buy a cheap e-reader on eBay. That is the strap. Then I read The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. I will say, this one's super famous too. I mean, if you've seen the, can I put it up? Let me see. If you've seen the picture of the big bug in the bed, that is from illustrated versions of this book by Franz Kafka called The Metamorphosis. Dude turns into a bug. Did he actually turn into a bug, or is it like a metaphor for something? I don't know. It was kind of interesting, but I feel like it's a book where I feel like it was trying to represent something deeper, but I don't know. Does that make sense? Like I think The Metamorphosis was trying to represent something deeper about the person, but I don't know, because at least for me, I was just like, okay, this dude turned into a bug. It kind of like shows his relation with his family and how like surface level a tiny bit of it was, and how like alienated you can feel so easily, but I just don't think my reading power level is high enough for it yet, okay? I thought it was cool, and that's about it, the Metamorphosis. And currently I'm reading Neshek book, the most famous one, or actually I think it's his most famous. Thus Spoke Zarathustra. How do you pronounce that? Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Reading that right now. Interesting so far, not very far into it. But yeah, so that's the book section. So that was the books I've read, and now we can talk about anime, the real literature, you feel me? So I haven't watched too much anime. Currently, I have quite a bit that I'm planning to. We'll start off with this because I'm not finished with it. I'm planning to watch Sony Boy. I watched the first 3 episodes a bit ago, and I'm planning to try to this week, maybe finish it, I don't know. But I also might just try to binge Bakuga or Monogatari, classic, highly praised anime series. But Sony Boy, I've never seen an anime that takes itself so seriously. It's kind of amazing. You can tell the creator had a vision, and it needed to be told through anime. Sony Boy, there's no opening, there's barely any music. One of my big things that I love about Sony Boy so far is how it handles the lack of music, lack of sound other than what is happening for the characters in their speech, because it helps make the visuals, which a lot of it is very isolating, make it sound even more isolated, and it makes it so when music is actually introduced, or any sort of sound that isn't just the natural sound, even though, you know, it's anime, it makes those moments even more impactful. And it is kind of confusing, and it leaves you in the dark. I hope it explains some of the ideas, but I have a feeling it's gonna make the show overall end very loose-ended and leave you to interpret what it was trying to tell you. But I like it so far. I think the animation's good, the music's really great, and it's a style of anime I've never seen anything like it before. I think it's incredibly unique, even just off the first 3 episodes. The only other anime I watched was Kill la Kill. Not much to say here. It was a fun time, okay? Good anime, not too long, 26 episodes, I think 21. It's not super long, and it's animated by Studio Trigger. They made Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It was the same people who made like Gurren Lagann and shit for Gainax, and they split and went to Studio Trigger. Okay, that's how I found out about Kill la Kill, is because they made Gurren Lagann. That was Kill la Kill, super fun. Animation's great, music's great. It is low-key, it's got the anime trope, I'll just say that. So if that's not your thing, you know, I don't blame you. But I thought it was a good time. And it's watch it in the dub, I recommend. It's one of the few anime I thought was actually funny. I do think there are genuinely funny moments in Kill la Kill, which is very surprising. So, goated. Okay, this is gonna be the longest section. So, I've been, over the second half of last year, trying to get more into movies. I watched around about like 95-ish movies last year in the second half. I was really trying to get to 100, but I didn't. This year, I've definitely slowed down a bit. I think I've only watched, my letterbox says I've only watched 18 this year, which sounds about right. I've just been way more busy this year with like classes and projects and stuff. Like I do not have the, also because I got addicted to a game, which we'll talk about in a sec. So yeah, let's talk about the movies real quick. And you know, for the anime and all that shit, I'll leave in the description. I got a letterbox, I got an Annie list. If you want to see what I'm planning to watch, what I want to watch, what I have watched, please leave me recommendations for anything in the comments below. Books, films, shows, anime, anything. Please leave it in music in the comments below. I might not talk about it, but you know, I'll add it to the list. You know, you feel me? Okay. Yeah, I started the year, I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That shit was so ass, but in a funny way. I watched it at the theater with a friend. It's fucking Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it was whatever. I watched The Sacrifice, which is a Tarkovsky film, right? I think it's his last, right? Am I tweaking? No, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's his last. Listen, dude. I don't know what it is with Tarkovsky. This is the second Tarkovsky film I've watched. I've watched Stalker. I don't get it, okay? That's all it is. I don't get it. I don't know if my film power level is simply not high enough to comprehend Tarkovsky's genius. But I low-key don't know what the fuck his movies are like about. I can get glimmers of ideas, and ultimately I'm left more confused and bored than I am intrigued in the slightest way. I think his camera work is really good. I think he takes amazing shots. I think everything's framed really, really amazing. I think his movies look amazing. I think the sound is great. I just never give a fuck about what's happening. It feels so alien to me, you feel me? Everything just feels so distant. And maybe that's the point. Maybe I probably just don't get it. So yeah, Tarkovsky's, I just don't get it, bro. Okay, I rewatched Synecdoche, New York. I got to see a 4K not restoration. I saw a 4K release in a movie theater. Second time seeing it, I watched it last year too. I enjoy Synecdoche, New York. I think it's such a complicated movie. It does so much in its runtime. I think it's really respectable though. I think it has a nice sense of dark humor in it, and it explores a lot and leaves it a bit up in the air, but in a way that I guess makes sense, which, you know, feels kind of dumb because I was just saying that about Tarkovsky, but whatever. It's a good movie. I like Synecdoche, New York. It didn't like change my life, and I haven't looked at it, maybe I haven't looked at it deep enough to be like, this is really revolutionary and oh my god, but I enjoy it. Alright, then I watched a documentary called Minding the Gap about these skateboarder kids who live in some like, I don't know, some East Coast, like fucking Rust Belt, like, you know, in one of those towns where like everybody lived there to mine and now, you know, they don't mine anymore, so it's just kind of like, you feel me? It's an American thing. Americans, you feel me? Anyways, it was a good documentary. I really liked it. I thought it was pretty emotional. I think it tackled everything at a good pace. I don't think it overdid too much. I feel like the shots were pretty good for a documentary. It didn't feel like too forced, because I feel like a lot of documentaries, they're kind of doing the bare minimum. They're like, okay, here's the info. There's some documentaries where it feels like it could be a dude on YouTube explaining it to you with some like Google images and you'd get the same out of it. I really feel like this was a unique thing, showing both the director's lives and the lives of those around him, and kind of how this environment affects them and how they affect each other, and how skateboarding kind of holds them together in some way. And it also ends with This Year by the Mountain Goats, so goated song. Okay, yeah, and then I watched The Brutalist. I saw The Brutalist 4K, day it came out. I skipped a class to watch it. My thoughts? Yo, this one's for you. Outside Don't Clear, if you watch this. I liked it, okay? I think the first half is really good. I think the way it's shot is really good the entire time in the theater. One of my favorite things, I feel like the editing is a bit sparse in a good way. It does this in multiple scenes, so if you watch it, you can pay attention to it. It plots you into a scene, but not really in the beginning of it, like in the sense of the world. It plots you in right in the middle. It's chaotic, shit's happening. We're moving through this area, but we're not exactly sure what we're seeing, and it leaves your mind racing. You're like, what is this? What is that? Where are we? And the first scene is like this. And then by the end, you're going through it, and it ends the scene on this like amazing moment. And it does this multiple times, and it makes it really engaging. Because I'm just so locked in thinking, what is this? With the context of the last. I think it's great. I really think it's great. The first half is amazing. I think the music is really good too. It's really grand. The way it's shot looks awesome. Editing's good. My issues with the ending? Now, some people say the ending is kind of a pro-Israel sort of thing. I don't know if I 100% agree with that. It definitely speaks a bit, or it doesn't speak a bit. The whole point is of the experience immigrants go through in chasing the American dream, or what is perceived as the American dream, or I guess you would call it the American lie to an extent, or that's the whole point. It's kind of like the falsehood of the American dream. That's like the main point of the movie. So the main character is Jewish, and he's at the end of the movie, spoilers I guess if you haven't seen it, they go back to Israel. Now my main issue with the ending isn't that it's about Israel. I just feel like it throws away so much of what's good about the movie for this ending. I feel like the ending is forced. I feel like they really could have eased into the ending, or even jumped to the ending like they did in the movie in a much better way. One of my main gripes is the music. Oh, it fucking sucks, okay? I like the soundtrack a lot, but the music changes from this grand, very spacious music for the whole movie. And then we switch to the ending, and it's almost like this electronic, upbeat sort of shit, and it's so sudden, and it's so jarring, at least to me, and I really was thrown off. I was like, this music fucking sucks. Turn that shit off. I really dislike that. And also, I think, why did we need like a 4-minute establishing shots of Israel? Like, The glazing is kind of crazy, I can't lie. I feel like the establishing shots on that part didn't need to be that long. They were overdoing it on the establishing shot front. Yeah, I thought the ending was, it didn't ruin the movie for me, but I definitely don't think it's good. I think on multiple levels, music, the way it's shot, the way it's paced, and I just did not like the ending, okay? That's it. Brutalist, pretty good overall though. Okay, then I watched Blue Spring. It was fine. It was fine. I think it's overrated, I can't lie. It was shot well, you know, it's a late 90s, early 2000s Japanese movie. I'm a sucker for those. I like how it looked, like the characters, very over-exaggerated, but also down to earth. But yeah, overrated. But Blue Spring's pretty good. These are movies I watched for a class. I watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It was whatever. I watched Contagion. It was kind of ass. So pretty much I had this idea for a video for a long time, almost at this point almost like 2 years, where I wanted to, because for a while I was interested in movies, I never really got into it, and I wanted to make a video where I just pretty much went in to Letterboxd, watched the top 10 movies of all time, made a video giving my thoughts from the perspective of somebody who hasn't seen a lot of movies, because at that point in time I really hadn't. I watched like 3 or 4 a year, and they were all like Marvel movies. At this point I can't really do the video, so for a while I was holding off the top 10 movies on Letterboxd, because I was like, okay, but eventually I'll get to it, and then I never did, and whatever. So I finally watched The Seven Samurai, and you know, it's good. Hot take, right? Seven Samurai is good. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it, the movement of it is really nice. I love how it's very human. I think the characters bounce off each other really well. I think the conflicting ideas of each samurai, how each one is a trope in an extent, you know, each samurai is very much a specific character type, an archetype, right? And how each of these bounce off. But it's just the fact that knowing this is like one of the first movies to really do some shit like this. And also, you know, that it's shot really well. It looks fucking amazing. The framing, of course. You know, I know every film nerd and every film production student, when they see the last shot with the swords and the people, and it's, oh my god, look at the framing, how it's like, I know I'm tweaking a bit, but yeah, it's a good movie. Did I think it's like a masterpiece that I love every second? I do feel like it's doing the most a bit, right? It insists upon it. It's a bit long, okay? I feel like it was doing the most to a degree. Maybe that's the point though, it's supposed to be a bit exaggerated. I really liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I don't think it was bad by any means. Do I think it's like 5 stars, like fucking 4-page essay review on Letterboxd? No, I think it's good. I wouldn't call it a favorite. Yeah, Seven Samurai, good movie. And then I think that same day I watched a movie called Rice Boy Sleeps. Dog, holy shit, I'll be so real. A lot of times people glamorize the 90s, right? Oh, I wish I was born in the 90s. This movie, Rice Boy Sleeps, I'll put it on screen somewhere. You'll see it. What's the camera at? Holy shit, bro. Them white kids were racist as fuck towards those Asians. Holy dude. That movie, the entire time I watched it, I was just thinking, thank fucking God I was not raised in the 90s, because they would have hated my ass. Anyways, yeah, it's about this Korean immigrant family. They moved to Canada in the 90s. You can kind of like gleam from the name Rice Boy Sleeps. The son of the family, it's a single mother, and her son, he's very young when they moved to Canada. He's bullied a lot. There's a large amount of prejudice and racism towards him for being Asian, and her as well for being Asian in her workplace. It's shot well, it's interesting. I do like how it's presented. I think the ending is also done really well. The whole thing's shot, it feels sort of mystical to an extent. That being said though, some of it I felt was like, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's like, it felt a bit like I couldn't believe it. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I know part of it's based off the director's life, but it made me grateful and very lucky to know that I was born in a time, at least for Asian Americans, that I never experienced this level of like prejudice, I guess, or like racism. Because, dude, like, he was like the only Asian kid in his entire school. Like, I've never, even growing up, you know, early 2000s, I never experienced that. Maybe it's because I was on the west coast of America. I guess, you know, not to dox myself too much, I was in that region. Like, the diversity is very large there, right? You got Mexican people, you got white people, you got Asian people. Like, it's never like an over-dominating amount of one type, at least in the west coast, in the places I've been. So, part of the movie, I was just like, ain't no way this shit was real. And I was more like drawn to that thought the entire time in the movie itself. So that's not on the movie, that's on me. But it's a good movie, it's interesting. I think if you're Asian and Asian American or Asian Canadian or Asian anywhere else, you know, not from you were raised or you live in a country that isn't of your ethnicity, I think it's worth checking out. I think it's interesting to give that insight, especially for a time that, at least for me, I wasn't born in. Okay, now we're through the last few. Okay, I watched this movie called 93 Days. It's about like, oh fuck, I think it was like malaria or some shit. No, Ebola. It was about Ebola in like Uganda. I watched it for a class. Holy shit, that movie sucked ass. Idea, super interesting. Uganda, they had an Ebola outbreak and they were just so goated that when Ebola had was outbroken in Uganda, I believe it was Uganda. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's been like a month since I've seen this. They were really fast with it. They really cracked down on some shit. A lot of the hospital staff ended up getting infected and pretty much sacrificed their lives to contain Ebola. Very cool story. Very bad movie. Edited like shit, acting pretty bad. Really, the editing and the way some shots are like done, super jarring. I was watching the movie in class and I was just like, holy shit, this editing makes me want to die. If you've ever edited a video before, you can tell, and it's just like, there's like moments where it's a scene that you would think would be just one take, and we have multiple like really short cuts in the middle for no reason. And then I was just like, did they just fuck up the recording and have to do like, shit movie. Then I watched Joel Haver, one of his newer movies. He's a YouTuber who last year did 12 movies in 1 year, all on YouTube. This one I really liked. The 9th movie is what it's called. It was really interesting because a lot of it, it's like a comedy and it's really entertaining. I feel like most of the time it's act well. I like how it's shot, how it's like handheld, very like sort of basic, but I enjoyed it. But the base idea of like showing maybe something you did creatively, in this case movie, but it could be anything, you know, if you make music or if you draw or you write or whatever, and showing it to, you know, close friends, family, other people that you talk to who are also creative people, and, you know, showing it to them and wanting them to be honest with you about what they thought, but also, you know, you want them to like it because you care about what they say, and then getting feedback where you just feel like they don't understand it. They're telling you, oh, you could have done it like this, or why don't you do it like this? And it's like, part of it is just the creative process for you it's singular, you feel me? Your creative process is going to be different from everybody else's, and just the emotions with that. It's a fun movie, it's an interesting movie. I feel like it's able to talk about that to a small degree, or to a good degree, but without like overbearing it on you. Check it out, 9th movie. It's on YouTube, it's like an hour long. I highly recommend people check it out. Then I watched, I Saw the Devil. Holy fuck, okay? It's a revenge movie, whatever. It's super, super violent, super graphic, just downright disgusting at points. But it is, because it's a very simple idea. Oh, I'm getting revenge, but I have to become almost as bad as the killer to get my revenge? Am I just like the killer? So not a crazy idea, but it's presented in a way where it's really like, because I feel like sometimes movies do this, you know, revenge movies do this. Always at the end of the day, the guy getting the revenge, you can always tell it's like, oh yeah, well he's doing violent stuff, but at the end of the day, he is definitely more righteous in his actions than the murderer that he's trying to get revenge for. I Saw the Devil, I genuinely don't know if you can justify what he did. He genuinely might be just as bad as the murderer. I would say he's not, but only by the smallest margin. He really truly becomes just as evil, and the movie knows this. Final scene of this movie, yo, round of applause for that shit. Holy fuck, the acting, the way it's shot, the way it's close and then pulls out. Holy fuck. What a scene. What a fucking scene. Probably one of my favorite ending scenes I've saw in a movie. I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, a very graphic movie. I thought it was shot pretty well most of the time. I thought the ending was, as I said, amazing. And it's so graphic, but it really, I was surprised on how far it was willing to go. It's a movie that really, you gotta question, like, he might be as bad as the murderer. Is his revenge as bad as the guy he's getting revenge on? Because it might be, and I would argue it's very close, if not on par. Very good movie though. I highly recommend people check it out. Then I watched, finally, I told myself I'd watch this for so long. I watched Love and Pop, Hideki Anno's movie. First live action movie he did after the end of Evangelion. I watched Ritual last year, which I thought was pretty good, if not a bit on the nose. Love and Pop, first off, well, it's about compensated dating in Japan in the 90s. I think the topic's interesting. I think the story, it has Hideki Anno's classic shit. You know, there's ideas about like relationship and what it means for a person to be, and you know, it's presented very vaguely and very like up to interpretation, which I thought was fine. The main thing I loved about this movie, and it honestly inspired me a lot, I feel very inspired by it. So I guess the next short film I make might have some Love and Pop influence in the editing and shooting style. It's shot in like handheld, very like lo-fi style, which I love. I enjoy that a lot. I mean, you can tell from this video. But it's edited in a way where it's just stuff that I'm like, I didn't know you could do that in movies. I didn't know you can edit like that in movies. Layering so many different scenes on top of each other, flipping a scene to its side, fucking with the opacity to feel like this incredibly just complex emotions flooding into a person. Taking a scene where all you're doing is taking the full thing and stretching it down so it only takes up the sliver in the middle to represent how claustrophobic and isolated the character feels in that moment. Having it where one character is taking up 3/4 of the screen and the other's taking up this sliver, to see both their emotions at the same time, and kind of just the dynamic between them and just the size of the image. Amazing. The editing, how fast the editing is during conversations. It doesn't let you sit, it's jumping so much. Shots from really weird fucking angles. The way it's shot, the way it's edited, I love. I think it's insane. I've never seen anything like it. I think it's incredibly unique. I've only seen about like 120 movies though, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. Story was not bad. Ending was not bad either. I was mainly just blown away with how it was made. I thought it was insane, and I was very inspired. Okay, that's the movie section. Now we got one more part I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about video games. Oh, last year I bought Signalis when it was on sale. A game I assume some of you, if not a lot of you, have heard of at least. It's definitely inspired by Silent Hill. It wears its influences on its sleeve very clearly. That doesn't mean it's a ripoff though, by any means. It feels incredibly cinematic, and you can tell that it's going to tell this crazy story, and it presents it in a way that is very intriguing and that leaves you wanting more. It has these puzzles that are somewhat complicated, but not too complicated. It definitely has an amazing atmosphere. I'm only about, I think, an hour and a half into the game. The game is only about 10 hours from what I know though, so I need to finish it, but it is very interesting so far, and I like it. I know a lot of people say, oh, the music's so good. Dog, I'm an hour in, there's no fucking music in this game. It's just this eerie-ass diagenic sound or whatever the fuck. Besides that, I've been playing Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is the heroine of my life. I will get clean off Destiny 2 for a year, and then for some reason, somebody in my life's like, yo, you should hop on the game again. And I do, and I buy the newest DLC, and I become hopelessly addicted. Fuck you, Destiny 2, but I also love it. If you have friends who are willing to get it, it's a good time. If you want to get it and you want to play solo, don't waste your money. Okay guys, that's it. Okay, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed this yap sesh. The first, it's probably, I don't know how long this is gonna be. You know, like 30-40 minutes, maybe longer. Yeah, just you probably just threw this on the background or some shit. I'm planning to do stuff like this in the future, every now and then, maybe every month, every 2 months, just to give you guys something. So tell me in the comments below, what have you been into recently in this year so far? Books, games, movies, shows, music, anything. Just let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Give me any recommendations. Check out my links to the fucking profiles and shit in the comments below if you're interested. Check out the Discord if you're interested, it's linked below. Shout out to the patrons. Okay, let's actually let's find the patron list, because I think somebody new actually joined, which is surprising because I haven't uploaded in a while. So thank you. Shout out to the patrons. I'm gonna be so honest. I'm so surprised that I make any money from the Patreon, because like I didn't think people actually give a shit enough. I really appreciate you guys. It amazes me, the people. Okay, I'm redoing this part because it was showing people's emails, and that I don't think I should do that. Okay, thank you to Dirt Eater, new patron, 1 month. Thank you for May. Oh my god, the brightest. 2 months patron. Thank you so much, May. Those are some free people, but thank you for joining anyways. I Pick Your Pocket, go 8 months. Paying $1 a month. Thank you. You fund my energy drink addiction. Thank you to Poppy John, absolute goat, long time patron, 11 months. What a G. And thank you to Fairy as well, absolute go, 11 months. And of course from May, the first patron, 11 months. Thank you so much, patrons. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was just a yap sesh. Let me know what you think. Give me recommendations. Tell me what you've been into. Hopefully for Lovers review sometime in the future. And I'm gonna try to make another short film this year too. At least one, maybe two. We'll see. Okay, bye-bye.